Hi, this is Jack from Alpha Charts with a state of the market video. Today is August 7th, 2021. Before we get started, this video is for informational purposes only. These are not recommendations to buy, sell, or hold any stock or security. And I may hold positions in some of the equities mentioned. Know your time frame and risk tolerance. All right, let's start with the SPX. And, it had a consolidation period here. And now on Friday, it has started to move higher, which I think is definitely the bullish case that we didn't see some kind of rollover or RSI divergence. Here's a divergence that could have happened, right? Something like this, right? But as you can see, it did not materialize, and that's great. Now let's look at the RSP, which is the equal weight SPX. And this was the more concerning chart, in my opinion, because it went ahead and it did knock on the door a bunch of times, but it had a really hard time moving higher. Friday kind of changed that a little bit, right? So in this range, it moved higher, which means that breadth is definitely improving based on this study. And I think that's definitely a bullish scenario, right? This was the bullish scenario that we wanted to see. And it's coming to fruition, which is very, very nice. We get the Qs, still hanging around this area, the 368-ish area. So it has not moved beyond it yet. We'll see, but in the end, it's just an area of interest. And the moving averages, this is the 23-day EMA I'm using today, is catching up to it. And as you can see, it's respected the 23-day pretty good along the way, right? And ever since this new uptrend has started, it violated it one time here and has not closed below it ever since. So it's an upward trending, moving average. Again, just an area of interest. I'm becoming a little bit less interested in it because you've seen the RSP already break out. And if you look at the equal weight Qs, again, it's in a very strong uptrend. And I think, let's take a look here. It's 1.6. And 1.4, yeah. So it's actually the equal weights are doing better than actually the weighted Qs as far as distance from the 23-day EMA, which I think is definitely a positive. But equal weight Qs, again, strong uptrend. It's hard to be overly bearish with RSP breaking out and Qs in an uptrend. Obviously, I'd like to see it clear. This area tried on Thursday, kind of came back into check on Friday a little bit, but nothing crazy. So we'll see if what happens early next week on the Qs. IWM. It's been kind of range bound for a long time. It tried to move higher Friday. I mean, it did. Gave back some of the gains, though, didn't close on the highs or anything. But, now we have a flat to rising 23-day EMA, right? So now it's trying to rise, price is above it. Price did close in the wicks, which I kind of like that. When I see that, that means that the sellers are drying up, in my opinion, and it can't push it down quite as much. And I think IWM has a chance to, at the very least, retest these highs. And if it breaks out, I mean, that would be huge confirmation of the next leg of the bull market. As of right now, it's still in the range, but I think maybe heading back towards the top end. And again, that's a more bullish, at least in the short to intermediate term scenario. Looking at IWO growth, very much like the IWM, obviously took a little bit more hit on Friday. But still not bad. And we do have a flat to rising 23-day EMA. We like that. I think that there's a good chance that it goes ahead and retests this, a 315-ish area somewhere in here. And then we'll see what happens. Again, breaking out above it, that would be definitely the most bullish scenario I could think of is the IWO breaking out above it. As of right now, I would just say, probably going to move back to the top of the range, and that's going to be hopefully a bullish thrust. Looking at some individual ETFs. Well, here's XLF. Would you look at that? couple of nice days moving higher. Looks like it just came back, retested this area right here, which was the 35-ish area. And now it's probably going to come back up here to, not too much further, and then retest all-time highs somewhere around there, right? And, if you guys a little bit pullback, let the moving averages catch up, financials could be a play again, did not pull back, normal pullback, right? I mean, what did pull back here? Let's see what the percentage is. Yeah, 10%, 9.5%. Yeah, I mean, after it ran, runs, 24% or so, 10% pullback, and now it's come back to all-time highs. Yeah, I think that's normal price action, right? Maybe it makes a little bit of handle, maybe it just goes sideways, who knows? But financials look good. If financials are moving higher and participating, I think that's one for the bulls. SMH, it had a great week, moved much higher, above this range that it was in, right? You had the gap, you had the move higher from there, follow through, some pullback towards the end of the week, but again, it just got extended from its moving averages. So, as these catch up, SMH moving higher again is definitely the bullish scenario, breaking out of this range. Again, I consider this a leading indicator, so good chance that the market is going to follow it. Next up will be lumber. So lumber's just kind of muddling around here. It's not really doing much. And so some things that, are indicators and some things just aren't, right? It's moving sideways. So with no real big thrust in one direction or the other, there's not much to say about it. And plus it's kind of a forward indicator. So as it moves higher, usually the market is going to follow in the next 3 to 6 months. And if it moves lower, sometimes faster. This was, this topped out in May and kind of pulled back then. So, but right now, no real signal number, in my opinion. Let's move to bond yields, right? Because bond yields was one of my biggest concerns last week, and they've retreated, right? They've retreated, so that's great. Has not made a lower low yet, so I like to see it take out this right here, 149. But overall, I mean, it's moving in the right direction short term. Just get rid of that stuff. And so would love to see it take out 1.5. It doesn't have to come all the way down here, right? It doesn't have to come all the way down to 1.4 or 1.45 or whatever. But just chopping it on sideways is fine with me, right? I just don't want to see the big move higher like this. And so there was some concern in here. It's not totally gone, but if it takes out 1.49 or this low right there, that would be definitely a bullish scenario that we're just in a range, and it's fine to be in a range. Again, we just don't want to see giant spikes in the spread between these two bonds, government versus high yield. All right, so bonds are looking better, right? VIX back in the bullish, very bullish range. We like it under 16.5, and it's at 16.16. Not much more to say about that. That's bullish. And VIXN, again, moving down, moving lower. I think that's, we're not seeing any big spikes in the NASDAQ VIX. So that looks very bullish too. Put call ratio. So this week's a bunch of people got bearish. Again, this is really a non-signal at this point, but it's not extreme, which I think is, lends to a grinding market and indecision and the wall of worry that's out there, right? I think that's what this kind of is showing. And markets climb a wall of worry. That's the old adage that I've always heard. And so that seems like what's kind of going on with the put call ratio. You have bulls, you have bears. I did a poll, and it was almost exactly 50-50. It was 51 bullish, 49 bearish. It was, I think, 800 or 900 people responded. So decent sample size. And so, yeah, so again, 1 foot out the door type of scenario is what I think this is kind of showing. Value line, again, another breadth study. And, so this was the divergence that I was, watching. And we did get, obviously, there was some issues in the market at that point. But now we're starting to see it, it made this low. This seems like a significant low right here at 635. And now it's trying to move higher. And the 23-day is now flat, right? And price is above it. So as the 23-day starts to curl up, as long as price stays above it, definitely a bullish scenario to look out for. And I think that probably will be happening pretty soon. Again, as long as price cooperates. So breadth is, I'm not going to say it's great, but it's improving some. And we'll see that in the MMFI also. This is percent stocks above the 50-day moving average. And you see this nice thrust right here off the lows, the August 4th lows, right? That's a nice looking thrust, right? This was a nice looking thrust off these lows. Then kind of chopped sideways. Now we're thrusting higher again. So 23 days curling up on this. So I think that this moving higher, like in this pattern, is definitely showing better breadth in the market. And again, feathering in the bull's cap. Let's look at gold. And gold moving down, right? People are not looking for the safe haven of gold. Again, I think that is, again, one for the bulls. And looking at Bitcoin ripping higher again. Again, there's no greater risk asset than Bitcoin. Bitcoin held where it should have. This could have been the indicator that the markets were good. It didn't fall when it should have. Or could, I don't think it should have, but a lot of people were expecting this to fall, including, I would say I was expecting it, but I thought there was a good possibility, high percentage chance that this was going to fall through. The markets weren't looking great, but in the end, it didn't, and it ripped higher again. So there you go, a bullish indicator for the market as a risk-on indicator, and also for Bitcoin itself being above 44,000. I think that's huge, and there you go. So Bitcoin put another feather in the bull flag, right? And bull cap. So everything said and done, I've pretty much said that we are set up for a bull run. Last week I had a lot of yellow flag, a lot of concerns, and they've pretty much been alleviated from breadth improving to bond yields, bond credit spreads, starting to tighten up a little bit. Bitcoin and other risk on indicators, SMH, equal weight SPX breaking out, all kinds of stuff has been, addressed, or at least is being addressed right now. So I think, I'm back in the bullish camp. There's, again, in my opinion, the market isn't showing any reason to be bearish right now. I think there's the wall worry as the put call ratio is showing. And I think that's, again, more another, check mark for the bulls. So that's what I think. State of the market every Saturday morning. Thank you for watching. If you like this type of content, please like and subscribe. You could also find me on Twitter at AlphaCharts365. I post my scans there and my stocks to watch video every Sunday morning. So thank you very much for watching. Good luck this week. It's a bull market. Take care.